Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about a very interesting and a modern concept in front-end development, and it's called the micro-frontends. Now we all know about microservices in the backend, right? Where we split a big backend application into smaller devices so it's easier to manage, scale and update. Micro-frontends follow the same idea but apply to the front-end, the part of the application that user actually sees and interacts with. So what are micro frontends? So basically, in traditional front-end development, we have one big application usually built using frameworks like Angular, React, or Vue, and all the features are developed and maintained in a single code base. This is why we call a monolith front-end. Uh, Micro frontends change that. In this approach, we split the front-end into smaller independent apps where each team owns a specific feature or page. For example, in an e-commerce website, a product page, cart or checkout page would separate into different front ends developed by different teams using different technologies if needed. Then all of these come together and look like one single application to the user. That's how the microphones work. Um, each team can uh, work on different pages or dependent pages. So why microfinance? Let's talk about the advantages or why companies are adopting this approach. First of all, it's scalability. Each team can build and deploy their part independently. No need to wait for the whole app to become ready. Tech freedom. Different teams can use different frameworks. One team may prefer React or another team may want Angular, so it's up to their choice. And the third would be the fast development. Since teams don't block out each other, they can deliver features quicker. And code isolation, bugs in one part usually won't affect the others, so it's a good thing. And the team autonomy, each teams works like a mini startup. They can own the feature end to end, so that particular part would be the responsible. They don't have to focus on the other things. It's just like how we divide backend responsibilities among microservices. Some logic applied to the front end, same logic applied to the front end, and how micro-frontends work behind the scenes. There are a few common ways to implement micro-frontends. And first of all, the iframe based integration. Each app runs in its own iframe. It is simple but not ideal for the real world use case due to its limitations with styling and communication. And second would be the JavaScript bundles. Each team builds the feature as a JS bundle, which is loaded dynamically at runtime. And the third one would be using the module federation, a newer technique in Webpack 5 that allows apps to share code and load each other's components dynamically. Uh, this is gaining popularity now. And server-side composition, like stitching apps together from the backend itself and serving as a one single HTML to the client. So communication between these apps is done using events, shared state or through custom APIs. There are tools and libraries like single SPA, module federation and bit that help in managing microfinance efficiently. And some of the real world examples would be many big companies use front-ends, especially Amazon. Each section on the homepage is managed by a separate team, and others would be Spotify, Zalando, and IKEA. These companies use micro front-end architecture to scale the UI across multiple teams and regions. Even the government sites that handle huge user bases are adopting this architecture for better performance and module modular development. So I will give a quick comparison with the traditional front end and the micro front end. For one, it is single code base. For other, it is multiple apps. One team owns it all, but here there are multiple teams. On one side, it is hard to scale. Here it is easy to scale, and here the framework is logged. The other side, we can use any framework, and this side they will have slow release cycle, means the updates will take much longer. In the Micro-Frontend, faster updates. Each team won't have to wait for others to finish their work. So Micro-Frontend solves many problems of a traditional front-end setup, especially for large-scale applications. And the drawbacks would be, of course, nothing is perfect. Micro-Frontends come with their own challenges like complex setup, especially the initial part like routing, styling, communication, that part. And the second one would be system resources. For to work on the setup, we should have a highly spec system because they are resource hungry. And performance, multiple apps might increase the load time if not optimized well. And consistency, the UI might look different if teams don't follow the common design systems. And for deployment, coordinating deployments can be tricky if teams aren't aligned. That's why it's most useful for large jobs and organizations where multiple teams are working on a single product. Uh, for the question where it blends with Angular or React, if you are using Angular or React, you can still adopt micro-frontends. Angular has NX, a monorepo tool that supports micro-frontend structure, and React works beautifully with module federation and single SPA. So whatever the frameworks you use, there's a way to go modular. And micro-frontends are not just a trend, they are becoming a practical choice for the big apps. As the front-end grows complex, this approach helps us managing things in more scalable and tech-friendly way, team-friendly way. If you're building a startup, you may not need it, but if your app is growing fast and your team is growing too, then micro-frontends might just save your life. So that's all about micro-frontends. Thank you.